welcome to By the Fifth. It's your boy Roger, and as you know, you can call me Tico. And of course, this season I am with the great Tiffany Flowers. Yes, we are excited today. We are downtown Nashville, and they're starting to make Nashville greater. How did you put it?
What did we say? Make Nashville beautiful, one building at a time.
At one building at a time. Yeah, so you're hearing that jackhammer in the background. Literally across the street, they're building another building down here. So we're excited about it. But we're even more excited to have today with us Robert Merritt. I'm going to tell you, this guy is amazing. He's a concierge, and we'll go ahead and let him talk his own stuff, right? But we're going to interview him. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Robert. Robert, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Honored to be here.
Good. We are so excited to speak with you today. And today our discussion is going to be about events. And so we know that you're all about events. So Robert, tell us a little bit about your story and how you kind of came into this space of events.
This starts way back in 1989. So as part of that, started working for Opryland back in 1989. And while I was there, did all of the rides and whatnot, Hotel General Jackson, ended up going to the Marriott hotels and working for Marriott in Brentwood. And was sitting there I was a GM at the time, general manager for the hotel, and I was doing all the work. So, in a select service property, when somebody calls out, no matter you're GM or not, you still got to jump in and fill in. So the chef would call out, I'm in the kitchen cooking. Housekeeping, housekeeping called out, I'm helping with housekeeping. A little bit of everything from the front desk and all. So after doing that for 2 years, I'm thinking, I can't keep this up because it's 24/7. Hotels never sleep. They never close. And we were doing all of the events or the meetings, the conferences at our hotel. So I'm thinking, man, I can do this. I've done this at the Opryland, and I'm doing it here. I want to do this on my own. Mm-hmm. So in 2012, late 2012, 2013, I jumped ship, and started my own concierge and events. In doing that, I needed another job because obviously wasn't bringing in the money at the time. So I'm like, I gotta pay bills to pay. So I ended up starting working for as a valet parker to just make quick cash and to do valet cars at the Hilton Garden Inn, literally across the street. And over there working, and I was outside. It was cold. It was freezing, and I'm double thinking my life and rethinking like, what did I do? Where's my money going? So gentleman walked by. He said, "Hey, Bob, how are you?" And I said, "I'm great. One." He said, "How's your concierge business?" I said, "Well, I need more consistency. I just have one event or one concierge client in 4 months. I need more consistency." And he was thinking, he said, "Hey, well, I need a manager for my private club. Do you know anybody?" And I said, "Well, I can probably think of somebody, but let me see." So we met later that day, talking about, actually it was the next day we met. So we're sitting at the bar talking, and he said, "Do you know anybody?" And I said, "Yeah, this lady here, that lady there. They were working behind the bar." Mm-hmm. He said, "Well, I was sleeping last night, and I think you would be a good fit for it." And I was like, "Yes, I think I would be." He says, if you will be the club manager, my members of the club can be your clients. So anything outside of what we can handle, you can do, and then I will take care of all the in-house." So we started that, and it just went from there. So I ended up working, it was called the Standard Restaurant. So I was at the private club upstairs, and I got to meet a lot of great people. And from that point, my concierge and events, people started asking me, "Hey, I need to get to this restaurant. I need to get this club. I need to get to this museum, or do you know any recommendations?" So I started doing that. And then from that point, somebody said, "Hey, I'm doing a birthday party. Can you help me? But I don't want to do it here. I want to do it somewhere else." And it started from the small things. Now, to this point, I skipped over a lot, but from this point, I have one of my clients at the National Society of Black Physicists. Mm-hmm. They have an annual conference every year. Last year was in Houston. This year is in San Jose, California. Next year, Detroit and DC, on and so forth. So I am their event planner for their entire conference. And I work a lot with the NFL alumni, the Tennessee chapter. So I do all their events. Matter of fact, we just came back from Memphis a couple of weeks ago for doing the MLK Day in Memphis. Where some of the players came down. It was a huge health fair. So I was a driver, so I took all of them down on the Sprinter van. And then I have a couple events coming up here. I got 2 site visits this month, and then an event in April. And then I started working for Sky House as a concierge in events. And then Sky House just came natural. So as what I do anyway, so I told the leasing office, hey, this is what I do anyway. Just let me do all of your events. So I start planning them. And they just let me have free reign. And then next thing I know, here I am. And I'm doing events all over. I can do as many as I want. I know we work a lot with you every other month, I think it is. And then those other months that we're not doing anything, I try to do off-site events. We just had one at the Blueprint Cocktail Club in Printers Alley. We had about almost 200 residents come out to that event. We had a whole section at the cocktail club. And we're working now with, they don't know this yet, so we're working now with, to surprise, working with the part is on Broadway. I can't think of it now, but anyway, it's one of the popular bars on Broadway.
Okay.
So there's
a lot to choose from.
Right, there's a lot. It's a honky tonk. So
Okay.
honky tonk. We're going to honky tonk to have their 3rd floor. So we have our whole event up there, and then the General Jackson and on and so forth from that point. So
That's
yes,
amazing.
yes.
And I would just like to say every day is a job interview, right?
Literally.
Because every day is a job interview. I love that story.
Yes, yeah, because you never know. Well, one of my good friends, he told me, he said, Bob, to your point, Tiffany, he said, whatever you do for somebody, whatever event that you do, is always an interview for something else. He said, so keep that in mind. Whatever you do your best because somebody else is watching it.
I love it.
So you are absolutely right.
Well, we're so happy to have you
Thank
today.
you. Thank you so much.
Yes. You're so you seem to be pretty well versed in that, because I guess concierge and events that all merges together, right?
It can. Yes,
Okay,
it can.
how so?
Very, so 2 types. So concierge pretty much deals with so custom. It's so custom made. It's based on a person's specific wants and needs, based on their beliefs, what their likes, dislikes, all of that comes into play. So as your concierge, let's say you want to get something to eat. Well, I can send you to any restaurant, right? But that's not being a concierge. That's just give you information. A concierge is to get to know their client. So I know you. I know your likes. Know your favorite color. I know your favorite food. I know your favorite city. So when I get all that information, I can pair you to your favorite. What will be your favorite restaurant?
The best match.
Right, just like the wine, the professional, they pair your wines with the perfect food. So as a concierge, we pair your personality with your perfect experience that you're going to have. So we can now know what you like. Now I can send you to this specific place. Even in your mind, you say, I want to go to Logan's Roadhouse, right? I'm going to go to Logan's Roadhouse. I'm like, no, you don't want to go to Logan's Roadhouse. You don't even know what you want. Let me tell you what you want.
Right.
And so I pulled out what I know about you and what I feel like will be a good fit for you. As a concierge, we're there to influence you to go this way, not the way you think you want to go.
You take out the guesswork.
Take it completely
I
out.
love that. Yes, because we have so many choices in life. And how many times do you go to a dinner, to an event, to experience something, and you come back and you say, that's not what I thought it was going to be, and you're slightly disappointed. You learn from it, but you're still slightly disappointed. So for me personally, if you can eliminate disappointments in my life and every experience is a 13 out of 10, I'm there for it.
Yes.
I love it.
That's the goal, right?
Yes.
That's the goal. And I would, as my disclaimer, I'm not 100% foolproof, right? So I'm not perfect, and neither would everything I do be perfect. But my effort and goal is to be perfect.
Yes. I love it. Well, with By the Fifth, a lot of our listening audience, or are people who work in the apartment industry, or they live in apartments, right? And so with events, what are your thoughts on having events at an apartment community? Why do you feel that is beneficial?
It's hugely beneficial because it creates retention. It creates excitement for people to come in because their friends live here or they hear about it. So I want to go experience this community. We have apartments that doesn't feel like a community, but then apartment communities that do events, they bring a camaraderie together with the residents and the leasing office. Because it's one thing to do with just residents and no one from the leasing office or no one from the staff shows up. They don't feel that community feel. It's when we as a community get involved with the residents. That's what brings it all together. Now they feel like you're invested in it, not just throwing something out there for them just so you can have something to do, but you're invested. So it's huge relationship builder because now I don't want to move out because now I've gotten close to you. Now I know who you are and I feel comfortable. I want to stay another year. So in apartments, that's a huge retention. We can re-sign and release. And then everyone else wants to come in. I want to stay there. So it just continues to fill it.
That's such a good point.
Yes.
In regards to making sure that, the managers are getting a chance to attend at least a few, here and there when they can, right?
Very important, yes.
I mean, they get to know that manager and get to, talk about stuff other than my sink.
Right.
Yes, because every day, it is a business, the apartment industry. People need a place to live, but it's still a business. But I think sometimes that business aspect takes away the human aspect. So like you were saying with the events, you get to talk to people, interact with people, same atmosphere because we're still in the apartment building unless we do an event off site, but it just kind of changes the environment itself, and you get to learn things about people that you may not have normally had the opportunity to hear from them. And then like you said, that creates a community. People feel important, and who doesn't want to feel important?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
This podcast is being brought to you by Apartment Community Functions. If you need an event, let us know. We can handle it. After all, we evented it. Check us out on apartmentcommunityfunctions.com.
I love that. And I'll tell you, being in the event industry, I've been to places where the manager was like the glue for those events. When that manager was there or that, anybody off that staff was there and the residents loved them, they would come for them. And I have been there when those, workers left.
And they asked. And attendance went down. You know what I mean? Because of that. I've also worked with properties where the residents, if the manager was there, they weren't coming.
Oh, wow.
They weren't coming.
Wait a minute. That's episode 3.
Right, yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right. I've had them come in and say, oh, she's here. I'm leaving. Just give me a plate. I'm out. You know what I mean? So that's how, like you are a part of that fabric, right? I mean, whether it's good or whether
bad.
it's bad, our faces, is a part of that fabric and how the people feel about, living there. I know with you, with Sky House, those residents love Robert. I mean, and he's so smooth with it, He comes in and, he's always sharp,
Let me take some notes real quick. Yes, let me take notes, please.
He's sharp, and they coming over, and they're talking to him, and they want to take pictures with him. And I mean, it's like a whole vibe going on. It's like as soon as they walk in the door, oh, there's Robert, and they're headed there. You know what I mean? Which I think is amazing. And we've worked together in the past, and it's the same thing with Tiffany. They will come in and just love on her. And what's great there, it was good there because like they looked at her like, like cousin Tiffany.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
So when they come in, it's like, oh, girl, you know, my daughter just got in town. And
Yes. I sometimes I feel like I need to be invited to Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all. Appreciate
Oh,
y'all
you,
inviting me.
hey, you are all right.
100%. So I think that is so important. One of the things I want to ask you is because some apartment communities don't have the luxury of not being there. Okay. What do you think is the benefit of having somebody else come and do the events, or outsourcing that to a company to come and do that?
So, if I'm understanding your question correctly, so some apartments can't afford to do it themselves,
Correct.
or they can't do
Or
it
they
themselves,
don't. Right.
so they have to hire a third party to come in. Right.
Right.
Either way, if the residents feel that the apartment staff is invested, if I can't be there, but let me give you something, it's all about that relationship. It's all about the conversation that you have even before that happens. So when those events come and when that third party does show up, it's an extension of that staff.
Yes.
So it's still very important to where the residents can identify as, yes, I know this is a third party, but also the staff, the leasing office arranged this because they can't be here.
I think it's important for us to be excited about it. Yes. If we're not excited about it, they're not going to be excited about it. So we have to work together as far as our communication and how we put that forward to the residents.
Yes. And you know, the other thing is, you know, when you hire, you know, I'll tell you like this. Years ago, when I worked in property management, you know, we would have the maintenance paint the apartment. Like, that was the thing. That was the thing. The maintenance did the painting. The maintenance did the maintenance. They, even on some properties, they cut the grass. You know, they did everything. Okay, but as we evolved, you know, owners began to realize that's not a good investment to have our maintenance tech painting. Why don't we have a painter paint, right? And so as we're moving forward in the apartment space, we're understanding that sometimes it's better to hire a professional to do that instead of you sitting there, you got clothes out, then you're going to run to Sam's and come back, and then you want to call the maintenance guy and tell him to come set up tables for you real quick while he's working on plumbing, right? So sometimes it's better to get that professional to do it, like yourself.
Well, myself, also you, and also, you know, your company, because it sets such a high tone, a high level of experience for those residents. So when they come in and they see the decor, they see the staff there, they're there on time, nothing's running, you know, late, nothing's like, you know, just put together. It has some thought in it. You know, it's a themed event, not just, oh, here's some cookies and some pretzels and here's some juices over here, pick it up yourself. But it's good to have the experience from what you have done, and what I do is that you actually serve the residents. You actually serve the people. And that goes a long way in the residents' eyes when they come up. Like, this is really nice. And hey, you can't forget the music. The music makes it all, puts it all together as well.
I love the music.
You gotta have the music.
I love the music.
Yes.
Now, something that I think is interesting too, we were talking earlier about how we're both from Nashville. We are the unicorns in the room right now. But as far as people's, I guess, their expectation of their living environment, that's changed over the years. So again, we're at Sky House today. It's a beautiful property. Yes. Still a nice view right out there as well. But as far as how people live now, you know, we still have communities and subdivisions, but Nashville is growing up. So I think with that too, people have to think differently about where they live. It used to be you would go out on your front porch, sip a cup of coffee, wave at your neighbor. That was normal, right? But when we think about how Nashville is evolving and we have so many high rises now that hundreds of people can live in, I think the events and the concierge services, that's what makes it more personal now. So for me, that's what I see as an advantage to the concierge service. having the events, having professionals put those events on for us. Because again, like you were saying earlier, it brings back a sense of community, because traditionally what we would see, how people would live, that's completely changed. We have another apartment community that will be coming up to us here shortly, I guess in the next year or so. But again, how do you set yourself apart from other communities when literally, if I just moved from Louisiana and I'm coming to look for a place to live in Nashville, with there being 3 or 4 high rises right beside one another, and they're all excellent, but they don't all have Bob here, right? Like, how do you set yourself apart, and how do you let your residents know that this is the place to be?
Oh, that's such a great question, and I'm excited to answer that question. It starts before you even come in the door. It starts with what you have already. And I'm not going to be long-winded, so I'm going to be, because I know I can talk a lot.
I'm taking notes again. I'm taking notes.
It starts with how you make people feel around you. So let's say I'm downstairs at the desk and someone walks in the door. They want to know the difference. Why should I stay here versus 5 other apartments that have they're newer. They just opened last month, so they got all the bells and whistles. We're 8 years old, all this
you
other
look
things,
beautiful
right?
for 8 years
well,
old.
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so
Don't
much.
look a day over two.
No, a day over two. No, we try to keep it clean. So, but when they walk in those doors, it's that first impression that you give that client or that potential lease. You make them feel like they're coming into a home. And so when people are walking by, they're not just walking by without saying anything. They're walking by and say, bye, Bob, bye, Bob, have a good day, Bob. But hey, Bob. So the future resident, is there watching, they see this happening. You didn't set it up. You didn't plan it. It just happens naturally.
I think
because
that's what they think. Sometimes we pay people to do
you
stuff.
think, right, you think they do it. But it comes so natural that people, when they're coming in the door, the little kids that come in the door, Mr. Bob, and they high five you and they walk by. So nothing that you have to do. So it starts before that person even gets here. The relationship that you have with those residents, the relationship, your conversation, not just have a good day, welcome, have a good day. No, you try to get invested in their lives because you see them every day. So, hey, how's it going? How's the job working today? And they'll tell you, I got promoted, or I got laid off, or I done this, or I'm looking for this. So you associate that with that one resident. And every time you see him, you associate, so you say something along those lines. So now you're building this relationship with that person. So now when that person walks in, they see all this activity happening. The building is already selling itself. I don't have to tell you why you should move here. I do this all the time. I'm at the desk downstairs sometimes, and the leasing office comes out, and they're doing a tour. And before the leasing office comes out, they come up to the desk and say, hey, I'm here for a tour. Great, get all the information, welcome, blah, blah, blah. While they're waiting, I'm just having a conversation with them. Don't mean anything. And I tell them, I said, so when you plan to move in? You plan to move in tomorrow? Or like, I know you're going to pick this place. Like, I'm just already telling them. So they're like, oh, you trying to sell? I said, I ain't going to even have to sell you. We'll talk after you finish. So they leave, they go to the tour, they come back. Now they're seeing people saying hi, and I'm having conversations with other people. And so when they come back and the person goes back into these offices to get their keys, get their ID, and bring it back to them, in that time, I say, so now, what do you think? What can we do better? And so that relationship is already there. This happens so many times. They leave, go to another apartment, and they come back. Like, you know what? I like what you said, so I'm coming back, have this apartment. It's not just me. It's all of the staff that does it. So I think a big part of that is you have to build a relationship with every person, so the building sells itself when people are walking in and out, because they see the work that you put into it. It's not just a one-day thing. It's a lifestyle. And a lifestyle happens, people will see that, and it will start coming.
I love that. I love that. Great question. Great answer. Because, yeah, I know I go in and I look at everything. I watch everything. When I go into an apartment, years ago when I was in apartments, in the apartment business, we had to go out and shop other apartment communities.
That's still a thing.
Is it still a thing?
That's still a thing, yes.
And I would just watch so much, One time I had an interview to manage a property, and I got the job, And so I decided to go look at it and shop it. Okay, they didn't know me, but I went in there and shopped the place. And when I went in jeans and a t-shirt and some and some sneakers.
Okay. Undercover. You went undercover. All right.
Undercover.
Okay.
When I tell you they treated me so poorly. I mean, for somebody that you want to live in your apartments poorly. And I didn't say anything. I was just like, I just wanted to see apartment. Well, we don't have time to show apartment. Here. Gave some papers and went out the door. And I wasn't experiencing that, Robert, hey, how you doing? I know you're going to live here one day. I experienced none of that. So the day came when the regional came to introduce me to the staff.
Undercover boss.
Right, undercover boss, right.
Yes.
When I tell you the look on the faces of the people that I was, working with on that day was priceless. I mean, like they seen a ghost. I didn't even say a word. They remembered immediately. Yep. So it matters. It matters.
That is not the experience that we want to give to our residents at all. And again, like we were saying, everybody wants to feel important.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should have that feeling. And when they come to their place that they call home, where they come to relax, where they come to rest, they should feel comfortable. What did they say? You're the king of your castle or the queen of the palace?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
But
yeah.
it should be that way.
Yes.
And I think we need to try to extend that to all of our residents. Just like you were saying with your story, I think it's pretty interesting too. We have a lot of billionaires that, like Bill Gates, he'll go stand in line for an ice cream cone. Adam Sandler, the actor, he's always in a t-shirt and, sweatpants. So again, not to judge people, but everybody is somebody. And because of their outward appearance, you just like for you, you can't judge them on that. So that's why we try to build those relationships and treat people. I always say, treat people how you want to be treated.
Yes.
If you do that, we're great. But that's how we need to be able to try to interact with our residents, our future residents. They come in, take a load off of them, relieve some stress.
Yes. And even in the events themselves, we had a couple that moved here from, they were from overseas. And they came here to Nashville. The year that they moved here, they had the bomb that blew up downtown. They had COVID. And there was the tornado. The big tornado came to all in their first year, not just in Nashville, but in the country. And they had nobody there. And they told us that our company being there and having events and for them to be able to build some type of community was so special for them. And I mean, they got to know all their neighbors and talk about stuff and learn things about their country and things about our country. And they stayed for 3 years, and when they left, they just hugged us and thanked us so much, for our services, So you're always touching somebody and you never know sometimes.
And it's such a great feeling that you have a hand in helping someone feel welcome. You have a hand in making them turn their stay around, making them turn their lives around. It's a feeling that you don't get when you just go out and buy yourself clothes or whatever. Right. You buy or you take yourself on a trip. This is a different type. This is I just help humanity. I just help someone look at life more differently in a more positive manner. So yes, that is very important.
Yes, absolutely. Before we wrap this up, let me ask you, Robert, tell me about your first apartment. Or if it was a house, was your first house, but your first place, what was that like?
Well, I'm gonna say this: I was blessed, and I'm gonna say this I want to name the apartment. The apartment I went to, we had some issues, right? We had some issues with the air conditioning and heating. The staff when I first got there they were nice. They were really nice. But we had some issues. They had a management change. And so the management changed. I didn't know anybody there anymore. And so then we had some air conditioning issues and heating issues. My air conditioner wouldn't work and my heat wouldn't work. So I kept calling, and luckily I called. And then all of a sudden it's so funny. It was cold. I was like, okay, I can't keep living like this. So I researched and found out who the management company, and found the president of the managing company online. Wow. I don't know how, but got his number. Called him. He answered. Told him who I was, where I lived. He apologized. Next day, I had 2 maintenance men. They were up there fixing it. They gave me 1 free rent for the month, which is fine. I didn't even ask for that. I said, I just wanted heat.
Right.
So that was fine. Came to renew. I didn't really want to renew, but I was like, you know what? I'm here. I don't feel like moving. I just got here. So I renewed my lease, went down there to the office. Office didn't really pay me any attention. So I'm like, So I signed the papers. They sent me, I looked at it, and I said, okay, I just signed the paper. The first month rent came. My bank account stayed the same. And I was like, I looked at my lease again just to make sure. I called. No one answered. I left it alone. Next month came out. No one said my lease, the rent still in the bank. It's like, Then I got a phone call on the 3rd month. Can you come to the office? Went to the office, had my lease papers with me.
You were ready.
I was ready. They said, somebody made a mistake. I was like, what was that? They zeroed out your rent. So you have a whole year lease, free rent for the whole year. All I had to do was pay the water bill, the utilities, but did not have to pay rent for the entire year, because on my lease, when I looked at it, it said 0. And I was like, I didn't say anything because I was not going to say anything. I was going to wait to see if they called me, and they did. And then they would say, I said, well, it's here. They said, there's nothing we can do about it. So enjoy your year free of rent.
Wow.
So that was my first experience in the apartment.
So not too bad, huh?
Wasn't too bad. It started off rough, but it got better.
What I was going to ask next, did you go buy a lottery ticket that day?
I did not, but I should. We didn't have lottery back then. No, we did not. We did not.
Because
Yes.
if you should have bought a
We
lottery
did.
ticket.
I should have. That was my lottery. Don't worry. I won the lottery
Yes,
that
you
year.
did. Yes,
So
you
I was blessed. That's all I'm going to say. I hope no one got fired over it. I don't know, but that was.
Here's the silver lining. Something cannot be as you think it should be. You can have issues that you're going through, but at the end of the day, there's always a possibility
Always
that things could work out in your favor.
Yes.
If that's not
Yes.
like the poster child for that right there.
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
you
So
did win the lottery.
I
Yes,
did.
you
win. So now it's funny. Now I'm working with apartments.
Right.
Hey, it was good.
I like
Yes.
that one.
Yes.
I like that one. Yes. For sure.
Wow. Well, Robert, we appreciate having you on
Yes,
today.
enjoy being here.
We've learned so much, and just even about you. And I know a lot of people and our listeners are getting some good ideas from this, and some things that they can apply. So how can they find you if they would like to utilize your services?
Utilize my services. My website is meritcse.com. That's meritcse.com. Or you can email me at Bob Merritt, and that's 2 R's, 2 T's, Bob Merritt, at Merritt's, 1 R, 1 T, CSE.com. Or you know what?
Taking
You know
notes
what?
again.
Either that, just make it super simple, because I am a concierge. You can always call me. My number is 615-495-8526. That's the quickest way to get in touch with me.
Yes, I love it. So get out there. Make sure you're doing events. Call your local event company. Remember, you can always call Apartment Community Functions, and they will be, we will be more than happy to take care of you as well. But if we're not in your city, get somebody or give us a call. Give one of us a call. We can give you some ideas, right? But I think it's important that we all, are adding this service to our properties.
100%. 100%, yes.
100? All right. Well, thanks again as always. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend about By the Fit Podcast. Again, this is your boy Roger here with Tiffany Flowers. God bless.
The name is Trent, Roger Trent, but you can call me Tico. What's up?